CEO in SDMA.
Nagaland, being a multi-hazard prone state, vulnerable to various types of disasters in varying degrees. That one disaster which we always come across every time when there is a lot of rainfall and landslides, which is there because of our topography and the climatic conditions that we have here. And another disaster which we have is forest fires, which also catches our attention every now and then, and in which there is a lot of damage to our, especially our environment and the forests. Then of late we are having this flash floods, which was not there earlier, but because of the extreme weather conditions, mainly driven by the climate change that we see across the world and even in our state, we are experiencing. And then of course the earthquakes. Considering that we fall in zone 5, which is the most hazardous seismic region. So we were one of the 3 states who fall in this zone. The NSDMA, which is headed by the Honorable Chief Minister as Chairman and our respected Chief Secretary as the Chairman of State Executive Committee, with all the other key departments and officials of the state, are mandated for the disaster management in the state, and equally and very importantly for taking very few possible steps for creating awareness about disasters among everyone, not only among the government departments and officials but the public also, having good plans and then taking every measure to ensure that everyone's capacity is built in such a manner that we are fully prepared, including the public, so that whenever a disaster strikes, we are in a position to effectively reduce its severity and impact. We all know that many disasters happen without any intimation, particularly the earthquake. And they are the only way we can ensure that we minimize loss of lives and the damage to infrastructure is by responding to it swiftly, effectively, ensuring that the casualties are minimized, and the infrastructure also, the damage is kept to the minimum. So that is in this context, NSDMA have been organizing this mega mock exercise which we call NEPEX, Nagaland Emergency Preparedness Exercise, which all of you are fully aware because this is the 6th time we will be doing this. And this mega mock exercise we basically do to test our preparedness and capabilities to handle any disaster which strike us, doesn't matter how big. So today in this program, we are going to get prepared in doing this event, which as just told by the chairperson, it's happening day after tomorrow, 2nd. So this is a very important event in NSDMA calendar, and every year we precede that program with a lot of activities so that when we actually do it, we are fully prepared and are in a position to get the maximum benefit out of it. I warmly welcome Shri J. Alam, respected Chief Secretary and Chairman HCL program today, who would be delivering the keynote address, which I am sure would further inspire us to make every effort for improving our preparedness for handling disaster and reducing its impact. More so, as I said, in the times that we live in, when apparently it looks like disasters have become even more frequent than what it was a decade back or some years back. I also warmly welcome Major General Sudhir Bhal, retired Senior Consultant NDMA, the key person for this capacity building program today, who was a dent of the office he holds and his wide experience and knowledge in handling disasters across the country and being closely associated with their management would surely make us get prepared for the mega mock exercise that we are going to do on 2nd October in a much more effective and better manner. As you all know, this mega mock exercise which we are going to do, we are trying to simulate an event of earthquake. So this training program which we are going to do today, capacity building program, I think will ensure that when we do the mock exercise, we make it as close to reality as possible, and that way it will ensure that we get tested to the hilt concerning our preparedness. I also welcome Brigadier Veer Beniwal, DIG, IGR and Kohima Assam Rifles, for his presence. And I think when we will have this tabletop exercise and other programs in the afternoon, his insights will be very helpful in further improving our preparedness. I also welcome Shri Achale, Commission Secretary NSDMA, who has been associated with this NEPEX exercise for many years now. And I think his knowledge and insights will also be very crucial in helping to make this program even planned out better. And then we have on the dais Shri Muhammad Ali Siham, Secretary IT and Economic and Statistics. A booklet is also going to be released by the respected Chief Secretary, and their department has done they have helped in preparing this booklet concerning the disaster data of our state. I also welcome all the HODs, HODs and all the officials who have come to this program, and I look forward to their participation with keenness in this capacity building program, which will ensure that we manage to do this mega mock exercise in an even better way than what we have done in the last 5 instances. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Abhijit, for your kind words of welcome. Sir has always been a support to the NSDMA and in the efforts of disaster management in the state. Sir, thank you so very much for your presence. I would like to also inform the Chief Secretary and our resource person from NDMA that previous month we had a 3 days rigorous training to understand the newly revised incident response systems with all the officers from the line departments and from the DDMAs. With the support of the National Institute of Disaster Management, the resource persons who had come from the NIDM has been very immensely knowledgeable on the operations and the functions of the incident response systems, and that is going to be simulating it, and we will be practicing our roles and responsibilities during the coming mock exercise. Now I would like to call upon the NSDMA team, Dr. Noin Benin, for the acknowledgement.
We would like to acknowledge some distinguished guests for their presence here with us with a token of appreciation. First of all, I request our most respected Chief Secretary of Nagaland, Shri J. Alam IS, to kindly receive our token of appreciation. Now I request respected Major General Sudhir Bal, retired and currently Senior Consultant, National Disaster Management Authority, Ministry of Home Affairs, to kindly receive our token of appreciation. Now I request our respected Home Commissioner of Nagaland, Shri Abhijit Sinha IS, to kindly receive our token of appreciation. Now I request respected Brigadier Ved Beniwal, DIG, IGAR North Kohima, to kindly receive our token of appreciation. I now request respected Secretary, Economics and Statistics, Muhammad Ali Shihab A, IAS, to receive our token of appreciation. like to request our respected Commissioner Nagaland to kindly receive a token of appreciation.
Thank you, Dr. Noy, for the acknowledgement.
Now I want greetings from the NDMA to the NSDMA and the government of Nagaland. I would like to mention here that Lieutenant General Lata Hasnain, who is an honorable member NDMA, was very keen to be a part of this function today, but unfortunately due to some commitment, he has not been able to join us today. However, at around 12:30 in the afternoon, he will be making a special address to all the participants in the tabletop exercise and the events thereafter. Personally, I am extremely glad to be here today because I have been associated with the NSDMA for more than 2 years now. So during the COVID period, when we conducted the tabletop exercise only, we didn't have a physical mock exercise. I had conducted that event. I had also overseen last year's mega mock exercise, which was in a true sense a mega mock exercise because it was the event conducted across 3 states simultaneously. We had Nagaland, and we had Arunachal, and we also had Assam and of course Nagaland. Unfortunately, therefore, I had coordinated the whole event, but I had got to Arunachal, I could not be here, someone else had come. So for me personally, it's indeed a pleasure to be here with you and finally physically interact with you and do this event. You know, as far as the disaster management landscape is concerned, it has undergone very serious changes over the last few years. And the 2 facets are, firstly, the risk and the hazards that we face. It was mentioned by Sinaji also that you really don't know the frequency, the kind of disasters that are likely to take place, and this is primarily because of climate change and also the manner in which development has taken place, in countries, in states and cities. So rainfall that used to, take place in a year, it remains the same. But instead of, say 70 or 80 days, now that rain is falling in 50 days. So you are having flash floods, because the large amount of rain that is coming in a short period. You are having landslides and other such issues. You are seeing urban flooding in areas which have never been flooded before. And therefore, the importance of our being prepared and ready to tackle disasters, not only known ones, but also unknown ones and unanticipated ones. This is a key capability that we need to focus on and develop. The second aspect is, technology is progressed everywhere. So you keep hearing of AI, but you have other applications, remote sensing, etc., which can really augment your capacity to fight a disaster. Once a disaster takes place, the first and most important thing for us to know is what has happened, where has it happened, who are affected. So this is where technology is of assistance. And I would urge all of us here to keep this in mind and more invest in technology and technology-assisted decision-making for disaster management. Nagaland is fortunate in a sense, though it has a large number of hazards to contend with, but there are a large number of other agencies also who are co-located in Nagaland, especially the uniformed forces, who bring in their own integral capability which the state can bank on during disasters. So I would urge that the state have very good and close liaison with all the uniformed forces and have a very clear idea what each type of force can bring on the table in each district when a disaster unfortunately strikes. And the final answer to all disasters is not trained responders, not people coming from outside. It is our integral community-based response. I'm very happy to note that Nagaland has made great strides in community-based response, but we can never do enough in this aspect. So community awareness, community-based response, empowering it, integrating various volunteers. We have a representative from NCC over here. All these organizations in your community-based response is extremely important, and I'm sure you will continue to give it the importance it deserves. Finally, before I conclude, I would again like to stress on all of us present here the importance of our roles. You know, if you are managing land or if you are looking at finances or any other such role, if there is a little bit of shortcoming in your functioning, the cost is, you know, in terms of a few resources, some delays, administrative, etc. But if we as disaster managers do not do our job properly, we are going to pay the cost in lives. We are going to pay the cost in terms of livelihoods of our people. So please keep that in mind when you undertake your roles and when you train for your roles. With that, I once again compliment the NSDMA for organizing this event and wish you the very best and happy outcomes and learning over the next 2 days. Thank you very much.
How much of economic loss has incurred every year by the event of disasters? So likewise, in every sector we would be able to bring forth in the days to come when our data are improving it. This is one of its kind that the Economic and Statistics, in collaborations with the Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority, is able to bring out, to tell to all the policymakers and all the government machinery that what we are doing, why we are doing, how we are doing, should be linked to disaster risk reductions in order to bring in that sustainable development goals that we all look for. With that note, I would like to call upon the Secretary, Economic and Statistics, and the Director to please kindly take over. That would be followed by the keynote address by the Chief Secretary and
J. Anand to release the first report on Nagaland Disaster Statistics 2023 produced by the Department of Economics and Statistics. So,
we can, I think everybody can hold a copy. I think we can have one photo. This one is for the record. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnny Rongmai, the chairperson of this program today. Major General Bahal, the resource person from the NDMA from Delhi, Brigadier Beniwal from the Assam Rifles, Principal Secretary Home, Shri Abhijit Sinha, Commissioner Secretary Disaster Management, Mr. Luchali, Secretary IT and Economics and Statistics, Mr. Shihab, Commissioner Nagaland, AHODs, HODs, DC and SP of Kohima, senior officers from the armed forces, NDRF, and from the state government, the officers and staff of the NSDMA, media persons, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. Very happy to be here in the NSDMA program. Johnny has mentioned about the better side of me, but let me tell him that disaster is deceptive. I mean, sorry, the laughter is deceptive. Sometimes you just put up with it. But I'm happy that he has that image of me. I think you have not seen me in the other mode. So, as has been brought out by the previous speakers, I think the importance of this particular program is not lost on anyone. Disaster is something for which we always need to be prepared. Some disasters can be predicted, some disasters cannot be predicted. Some disasters can be predicted very well in advance. Some disasters they can be predicted but with a shorter forecasting period. And some disasters can just land on you. So, keeping prepared for all kinds of disasters is something that is an ideal situation. We keep training for it, and we keep doing a lot of exercises. In the heart of my heart, I feel that we are really happy to keep doing the exercises, and we just hope and pray that the real disaster never strikes us. There are people who might be preparing for their whole career but not face a disaster. So that is, I would say, is a happy situation. But then, as I said, it cannot be predicted, and that is why we need to be always prepared for it. The Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority has been in the forefront of keeping our preparedness levels very high. Nagaland is one of the few states in the country which actually does a lot of mock exercises and preparedness exercises, capacity building, because we realize that Nagaland is in a disaster-prone zone, and that is where its importance is not lost on anyone. Now, how we keep prepared for it? You see, we are saying that since 2016, we have been doing this exercise, Nagaland Emergency Preparedness Exercise. And a certain amount of standardization has come in that exercise. I am sure many of you might be doing these exercises in the past also. But in the government, you see, people keep changing. So you are here as maybe in your department you are an old officer because you are holding a particular position. But you get transferred, some people retire, some people go out like that. So every time some new people join, and that is why it is necessary that the exercises are taken with utmost seriousness and with utmost preparations. The closer we are to simulating the actual disaster, the better our preparedness is. That is one part. The other part I feel is that the role clarity, which our General Bahal also alluded to, the role clarity is very important. NSDMA has come out with this booklet, Incident Response System Guidelines. I am sure everybody must be having it. So this is the booklet which provides for roles of different authorities. Now everybody has to read it seriously, understand their own roles, and if there are any doubts or lack of clarity, it has to be got clarified. Because ultimately, when a disaster strikes, it is this booklet which is going to help us. So I think the NSDMA has done a very good job in compiling these guidelines, and very clearly the hierarchical structures and the roles and responsibilities of various authorities have been documented here. So I would request everyone to go through it and read about your own roles and responsibilities and be prepared. The other issue that has just been highlighted is about having close liaison with the armed forces. We are actually happy that we do have a good presence of the armed forces in the state. They have always been helping us in many situations, and we have a very close coordination and liaison with all the central armed forces, the Assam Rifles, Army, the CRPF, and many other forces. We have a unit of NDRF also now stationed in Nagaland. So that way this presence is there. All these forces, they have that institutional capacity, institutional knowledge and expertise to deal with any kind of situation. And that way it's a matter of great comfort for us that they are there to help us out in case a disaster strikes us. Apart from the dependence on the armed forces, I do not know whether the NSDMA actually has done any exercise of mapping the various capacities and the resources available with various formations and the resources available within the state. I was just thinking that you see, we had a COVID pandemic 2 years back, and until very recently it was going on. It was declared as a disaster, and many of the disaster management provisions actually were invoked during this particular pandemic. NSDMA also did a fabulous job of responding to this kind of disaster. But within the NSDMA, perhaps we do not have the capacity of, say, setting up a field hospital, for example. In case you see a disaster strikes in a remote village. Now, one option, of course, is that we have helicopter service and then we evacuate people through helicopter service. But it may be quite possible that landing is an issue, or bringing the people from the disaster location to helipad and then taking him out through chopper, etc. may take time. And the scale also may be such that chopper may not actually have the capacity. So in that kind of situation, having a field hospital capacity within the NSDMA perhaps is a requirement. At least the equipment for maybe 50-bedded or 100-bedded hospital should be there within the NSDMA if it is not available with any of the forces which are stationed in Kohima or in Nagaland as such. The human resources, the equipment, the medicines and other resources can always come from the Directorate of Health and Family Welfare in case of a disaster. But having that kind of a, you can pitch that hospital in 3-4 hours time in that location of the disaster in case casualties have taken place. that may save a lot of lives. So that kind of capability perhaps we need to develop. And this may be just one example in the health sector, but there are many other situations. There are fire hazards, there are flash floods. NSDMA has been gradually increasing its own capacity. I am told you have even those boats also, no? The boats which can actually be puffed up and then they can be used in kind of flood situations. For fire hazards, of course, the fire and emergency department is there. They are also developing their own capacities. But a lot of work needs to be done, in my view. So these are some of the thoughts that I have at present. Apart from doing all these exercises and developing our capacities, I think it is also very important that we keep documenting it properly. And there also I find that NSDMA has been doing a good job. The documentation is there so that people keep changing. That's what I am saying. We are actually lucky in Nagaland that we have a certain amount of continuity. In the NSDMA, we have a dedicated cadre up to the joint CEO level, which is kind of continuous. Although Home Commissioner, myself, the Commissioner Secretary, we are all transferable people. And similar situation may be prevailing in the other departments also. So it's necessary to have good documentation which can actually guide other people. So that's about all from my side. I'm very happy to be part of this exercise today, and I'm sure it will be useful to all the participants. From the state government side, whatever support is required, that is always available to NSDMA by virtue of its being anchored in the Department of Home. But even at my level also, since I happen to be the chairperson of the executive authority, so I also try to give as much priority to disaster management as possible. So all the very best to you. Let us take full advantage of the experts that are there today with us, and let us learn from them and do this exercise in all seriousness, simulate it as much as can be with a real situation, so that when real situation strikes us, we are ready for it. With these very few words, I once again thank the Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority for their hard work and dedication and the kind of work they are doing. I am very hopeful and confident that we can build a safer and more resilient Nagaland, and we are better prepared for meeting with any kind of disasters that God forbid if it strikes us. So thank you very much. Jai Hind.
For the information of the House here, the NSDMA, the Nagaland State Disaster Management Authority institution, was planted by Sir Jani Anam when he was the Home Commissioner in the year 2010, 11, 12. He was the first Home Commissioner with whom NSDMA began. When we came to initiate the establishment of NSDMA as an institution, our Chief Secretary was the Home Commissioner. In fact, he is one of the visionary who has directed for the progress and the institutions what we have today for disaster management. I remember in the year 2010, in the month of December, when I came, I was so happy that he gave me 1 month holiday. He says, now Hornbill is started, and then after this Christmas will begin, and let us meet in 2011 January. So that year, I got 1 month holiday. So thank you, sir. And then taking back to the memory lane, sir, you are the person, an officer who has planted the seed of the disaster management institutions in Nagaland. And so with regard to the resource mapping of various institutions, private and government, we have Indian Disaster Resource Network is a portal which is being managed by the MHA in collaboration with the NIC. We have been reaching out very frequently to all the 9 departments and also to the district disaster management authorities for the upkeep of these resources. There are districts who are doing, there are districts who are not doing. We have a lot of tasks there to follow up, sir. Thank you for enlightening us in that area, sir. And with regard to the mock drill, sir has been also part of the last year's NAPEX. Sir is the RO, responsible officer. Sir would be there once the siren on the 2nd at 9 a.m. sounded. Sir, along with other key officers, would be rushed to the State Emergency Officer, State Emergency Operation Center at the KZK. We have the operation center there. We would be all working there. And sir, as an RO, will be coming and taking stock of the NAPEX that is going to happen on the 2nd. So thank you so very much for your presence and for the thoughts-provoking training that we have done. We have taken some points that you have shared with us for us to work on after this NAPEX and in the days to come. With that note, I would like to request Madam Krolo for the vote of thanks.
Respected Chairperson, Joint CEO, respected Chief Secretary and Chairman SEC, our esteemed guests from NDMA and guests from outside of state, respected Home Commissioner, Commissioner and Secretary and SDMA, all the HODs, nodal officers to disaster management, and officials from different departments, media, and all the members present here. A very good morning to you all, and as we conclude this opening program, it is my honor and privilege to extend my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of NSDMA to you all. And first of all, I would like to express our deepest appreciation to our Chief Secretary, Sri Sir Jehalam IAS, for gracing us with his esteemed presence. His strong leadership and unwavering support have always been an instrumental in ensuring the smooth execution of NAPEX event, even in the past and now. So thank you, sir. And to our guests, all the way from NDMA, retired Major General Sudhir Bhal, we thank you for coming to support us, and thank you for your passionate involvement in the statewide mega exercise. We appreciate your leadership and the expertise you are bringing to the table. I would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our Home Commissioner, Sri Sir Abhijit Sinha IAS, for his valuable contribution. Even though he's very busy, in so many times he's so busy, yet when we come with our needs, he's always listening to us and giving solutions and support we needed throughout. A word of appreciation to Brigadier Beniwal DIG from Assam Rifle. Your presence has added a sense of honor and importance to this event. So thank you, sir, for coming. And a special mention to the Department of Economics and Statistics, led by Sri Sir Muhammad Ali Shihab, for releasing the first report of Nagaland Disaster Statistical 2023. So this is one of the fruit of coming together, having a better coordination and understanding each other's role. So we thank you that you are doing your